What's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of focusing on The Legend of Zelda for Wii U. In my last episode, which can be found in the description below, or seen by clicking the screen here, I went over how the overworld shares a lot of similarities with past Zelda games, such as Twilight Princess, the original Legend of Zelda, and The Adventure of Link. Then I discussed how multiplayer has been used in past Zelda games and how it could be implemented in Zelda for Wii U. In this episode I'll be talking about all of the different modes of transportation that may show up in Link's new adventure and my reasoning behind it. I'll be going over Epona, boats or canoes, loft wings, trains or mine carts, and of course, warping. Obviously we've had many other ways of traversing Hyrule, such as the raft first seen in the original Legend of Zelda, the Pegasus boots, which allowed us to travel to our destination a lot faster, avoiding enemies along the way, and the Zora flippers that allowed us to reach hidden locations and secret items, both of which made their first appearance in A Link to the Past. Now, starting off with Epona, it's not until Ocarina of Time we're given everyone's favorite way to travel through Hyrule. This is the first time for many of us that we're actually allowed to ride a horse in the game, in any game, let alone a Zelda game. With Epona, we're given a very fast way to cross Hyrule, which is required to get certain items on the quest, such as the big Goron sword. Epona is even required to make her way into Gerudo Valley, if we don't have the long shot. She makes a return in other games as well, such as Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess. Even a 2D version can be found in the Minish Cap. Nintendo has stated many times how huge and vast the land of Hyrule in the upcoming game is, and that every single point is accessible. We have seen Link on Epona riding across Hyrule. She even allows us to enjoy the scenery or focus on enemies, while she moves out of the way of trees and other obstacles. We also see a lot of wildlife in the world. Maybe we will need Epona to herd certain animals, similar to the beginning of Twilight Princess, or we may even have to hunt a deer or sheep-like animal that moves too fast to track on foot. Judging by the first video that was released, I think we'll be using Epona to evade other enemies as well. I think we will see Epona fairly early on in the game, possibly after completing the first couple of dungeons, earlier than we did in Ocarina of Time, possibly around the same length of time we took to get her back in Twilight Princess. But just look at the size of Hyrule. It took a while to get from one side of Twilight Princess to the other while on Epona, but we were given the option to just warp there. Zelda Wii U is way larger, so Epona can't be the only way to get there. Moving on to the boat, or canoe. It's not until Wind Waker that we see another game-changing mode of transportation. This time we're given a boat, not just a normal boat, but a talking boat to top it off. And Hyrule is flooded with water, which means we're going to become very familiar with our new friend. We're able to sail and hop our way from island to island and collect treasures along the way. Some dungeons even require us to use the boat as well. The boat made more appearances in other games. Phantom Hourglass, being a direct sequel to Wind Waker, shared a lot of the same gameplay mechanics as well. In Twilight Princess we were given a small canoe to travel on the river and to fish in, and in Skyward Sword, one is required to reach the sand ship. So this brings me to Zelda for Wii U. There are several large bodies of water, which are all connected by smaller rivers and streams. Could we see the return of the boat or canoe in some way? Whether it's the main way of transportation along the water, searching for hidden secrets and locations, or just used for a minigame, such as fishing in different spots, or racing, similar to the beavers in Majora's Mask. The next, and most unusual way of traveling across Hyrule is the Spirit Train from Spirit Tracks. Similar to the Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass, we were forced to use the train to travel across Hyrule. It provides a unique gameplay mechanic that allows it to stand out from other games, but I'm personally just not a fan of it. However, if we look at other Zelda games, such as the Minish Cap, or even Skyward Sword, we weren't given a train to travel on, but we were given minecarts. Some dungeons use them as the main gameplay mechanic, such as transporting mineshift stones, but my favorite way it was introduced was the roller coaster ride we had to go on. I don't think we'll see trains return, but I 100% believe we will see some form of the minecarts return. Possibly used in the Goron mines, which I also think will be a returning location. I mean, just look at that volcano. It just screams to be mined by Gorons. It could be used to make our way around in one of the dungeons, or hopefully we may even see certain tracks along Hyrule, as a possible way for one town to send goods easily to another. Who knows, it may even be a side quest within the game, similar to the one from Majora's Mask or Twilight Princess. If the game takes place in New Hyrule from Spirit Tracks, it could be a prequel, and be the basis for why the land began to be covered in tracks. Now, one of my favorite ways of transportation, the loft wings. And we can ride them. To make it better, we don't just climb on top like we do with Epona. We're required to take a leap of faith and jump off of Skyloft and just pray that our trusty bird can make it to us in time. The Loft Wing is used to make our way across all of the different floating islands in Skyward Sword and to the drop points above the 3 different provinces found within the game. One fun fact a lot of people don't remember, or just never discovered, in Ocarina of Time, we were able to grab onto the owl and fly to different locations in Hyrule. In Twilight Princess, we were able to control one of the monsters in a fun little mini-game. So Skyward Sword isn't the first time a flying mechanic was introduced in a Zelda game. Just the first time that it was expanded on, or required. So do you think Zelda for Wii U will see the return of a Loft Wing? Better yet, what if we're actually able to land them, and fly anywhere with them? Or maybe it will be required to reach a sky dungeon, similar to how we had to use the cannon to reach City in the Sky in Twilight Princess. Or it could be used as a faster way of getting to the top of Death Mountain without spending 15 minutes dodging enemies and falling rocks. If we do see a Loft Wing, I think it will be toward the later half of the game. Imagine chasing down a flying enemy like Volvagia on the back of a Loft Wing and shooting it with arrows. I mean, how much more epic could you get? Since the very first Zelda game and almost every game since, we've been able to warp. We were given the recorder, which can be used to warp to any dungeon we've already completed in the first Legend of Zelda game. We've seen warping and return in A Link to the Past in several different forms, using the flute, warp portals, and whirlpool waterways. When most people think about warping in Zelda, they think back to Ocarina of Time, or the recent 3D remake. It was perfected in these games. Each warp location had its own unique song that was learned as the story progressed. In Twilight Princess, Midna allowed us to warp to different locations through Twilight portals. In Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass, we had help from our little frog friend. Spirit Tracks allowed us to warp thanks to various portals along the train tracks. So with the size of the map from Zelda Wii U, even if we had Epona, or a Loft Wing, it would still take a long time to get from one side of the map to the other. So I think it's a bit obvious warping will make a return in the game, but how it is implemented is another mystery. I would like to see it brought back in one of 2 different ways. The first thing being the return of the ocarina. I absolutely love playing the different songs in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, instead of just playing one song or doing one thing to warp anywhere. The second way of warping I would like to see implemented would be to have warp portals, similar to what we have in the Halo multiplayer maps. Allow us to strike a certain stone with a special sword or arrow, like the special new arrow we've seen in the preview for the Wii U Zelda game. This blue light seems to be the same found within the monster chasing Link. Maybe if we shoot certain statues with these arrows, we will unlock portals that we can travel through. So how do you think Zelda Wii U will allow us to travel across the land? Could we see the return of not only Epona, but our trusty Loft Wing, a boat, a train, or warp songs? Or will we be given something unique to this game? Let me know in the comments below. Feel free to make a response video as well. I'll try my best to read and reply to every comment. I love getting feedback from everyone, so let me know what you want from Zelda Wii U. Please thumb up, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Every little thing you do helps tremendously. I'll be making these Zelda Wii U videos my main priority for now, but will continue to make my other videos as well. Also, let me know what you want from future videos. And as always, thank you for your support, and be sure to check out my friends McIntyre Productions and Commonwealth Realm as well. They create high quality Zelda videos as well. And again, please subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.